Well, whānau, you're here. We've arrived. Aoraki, look at it, standing up there in the background in its grandeur. David, we heard from Tā Tipene the Aoraki creation story. To waka Aoraki. Now, you have a slightly different version. Do you want to tell us about that story?
Kia ora, Andrew. Yes. The traditions for this area, particularly in relation to mana whenua, is the tradition of the waka to Ārai-te-uru from a place called Ārai-te-uru, and arrived here with a cargo of resources that was to furnish the land, to furnish our whenua with those resources that were necessary for the humans to sustain themselves. The waka to Ārai-te-uru was a waka of the gods, and none of us descend from any of those ancestors on that waka, those atua. The waka arrived off the coast of Tika Maui and cruised down the east coast until it came to a place called Turaka, which is the bay at Gisborne, where the crew lighted and planted some kumara and taro in the ground at Muriwai, on the southern end of the bay. They then reboarded the waka and headed down the coast towards Kaikoura, and their next stop was at the Kaikoura Peninsula and then on to Otago, where again they planted kumara to test the ground and the climate to see if those resources would thrive. As the waka journeyed further south, it got to the just off the Waitaki River and started to become a little more waterlogged, and it finally succumbed to the power of takaro, and the waka founded at a place called Matakaya, which is modern day Shag Point, just south of Kātiki or Moeraki Peninsula. All the cargo and crew were turfed into the surf and ended up on the beach, and the result has been that the gourds and calabashes were turned to stone, and they are now what we describe as the Moeraki boulders, which are found up at the beach at Kaihinaki, as well as along the beach at Whataparai at Shag Point. The smaller boulders that are more baseball size, they represent the kumara, and the Moeraki sand, the Moeraki gravel, which is a very golden colour, represent the seeds. Now, the crew members all decided to alight out of the sea and started to investigate what was inland from where they were on the coast. I mean, we've got to remember that these atua came from a place where there wasn't a lot of whenua, but here, this big place, huge land mass, they started to journey inland, and of course, if they weren't home before daylight arrived, they were turned to stone. The result has been that many of the significant landmarks throughout Te Waipounamu today, descriptions of some of those individuals and their exploits inland. One of those is behind us, and this is Kirikirikatata, the grandfather of Aoraki. Kirikirikatata decided to walk inland up the valley here to Manahuna and to investigate what was further inland, and he got to about just here in the Tasman Delta, and he had his moko on his shoulders, and he still rests there today because he was overtaken by the daylight and he was turned to stone. And that is Wakefield, and the base of Aoraki is Kirikirikatata, and his grandson still rests on his shoulders.
Kia ora. You know, it's wonderful, David, to hear these stories behind the names. You can know the names, but to know those stories behind the names is to start to really get to know the place.
I guess so, and if we wander around this place too much longer, I will give you descriptions and place names of many of these significant areas in this valley.
Well, that's right. We've only just scratched the surface,
Yeah.
but it's been a great introduction and an insight to the vastness of this place and the naming and the stories. Of course, it's gone on, over the many hundreds of years. But yeah, thanks for your time.
You're welcome.
It's been a real joy.
You're welcome.
Kia ora.
Kia ora, mate. Kia ora.